It's interesting because like I never shy away from questions, but I've been on one podcast to talk about like my Finnish experience, but now that I'm back, I
Yes.
have like so much to say. So I'm just gonna
Yes.
have to break that up over the next couple of episodes because I feel like it's already been about 15, 20 minutes
I
now.
think you should.
I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah, yeah.
talking about it, but yes, I will end up doing an expose at some point. But Maria, I wanted to like we don't know each other, so I can understand also why you're like asking questions, asking how I would react to this,
Yeah,
right?
this is my natural producer way, even just both on a
Curiosity.
personal level and a professional level. I'll just
Yeah.
ask all the questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love asking all the questions. I'd be like, "Are you getting mad?" Like, "Are
Oh
you
yeah.
getting mad
Oh
because
yeah.
I just want to know?" And
Oh
so,
yeah.
you are a producer. So does that mean you're
Yes.
also a gamer, or are you just like a really good producer
Oh
who's
no,
in the game industry?
absolutely. Absolutely a gamer. I think gamer first, and that's what led me to searching for games jobs in whatever that was, 2019, 2020-ish. And we know how 2020 was. So it took a little while.
No, I don't
And
think we
now
know because we think it was like yesterday. I think
yeah,
that needs to be studied because
it's a black box. Yeah, that's right. 2020 didn't happen. Yeah. No way. But yes, gamer first and foremost. I think like RPGs, Sims, cozy games, getting into horror a little bit, kind of all games in every game. Sometimes including sports. Like I just like games in general, like capital G games. And I also like process how things happen, how things work, and I think that was like the perfect combo for me to become a producer in the industry. So it's really fun. It's a really challenging and fun role I've got right now. Yeah.
that's really interesting that you say that because I always think that people who are gamers, especially from like a young age, and they say RPG, like y'all are the
Yeah.
real deal. Because I couldn't, even
The
if I
nerd
had a
nerds.
chance,
Yeah.
yes, like you're the elite. You know what I mean? Like there's
Oh, I don't
levels
know
to
if
it.
elite is the I don't know about that.
Anyways,
I don't know about that.
but like because you got to think about it. I'm gonna say how old I am. You don't have to, but
Okay.
I'm 33, and so I could have had the chance to play like a Legend of Zelda or like a Final Fantasy, but I didn't, right? Like I
Yeah.
just kind of had like I had the racing game, which I love, and I had Tekken, which I love, right?
Yeah.
But as a 6, 7 year old, that's just button mashing, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just button
Oh yeah.
mashing, and then turning the controller, I had like a little bit of motor skills on the joysticks, but like
Yeah.
barely none. And so
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I would play like Howie's Funhouse. Like I would play computer games and like print stickers, but like y'all
Yeah.
was in the trenches. Like y'all was in the trenches. You know what I mean? Like
I think
saving people, getting the towers
oh,
together. Like,
well,
you
you
know?
say that, but the past two Zelda games on Switch that I've played, it's a whole lot of running around and like just seeing if I can fly to the next thing,
That's
or
cool.
like Breath of the Wild right now and Tears of the Kingdom, they've got these little Koroks, right? And you can find and collect those guys. Well, now you've got like crafting engineering in those games. So what if you made like a hoverboard situation and just propelled that Korok as far as it could go? It doesn't, there's no quest, there's no mission, it's just
But
running
isn't
around
that
and
what it's
messing in the game.
for? Like, it wouldn't be in there.
It's
Like, you know what
the
I
best thing
mean?
ever. It's the
And
best thing
your
ever.
your brain that you were developed with when you were playing the games is a bit different now, but you still keep that same curiosity.
That's it.
As
That's
like
it.
me who grew up on the sandboxy games, I'm like, why would I now I have a problem with being a completionist because I can't just
Right.
enjoy. Because if I touch
Right.
every corner of the game, it's not that big and usually you can't go over there. And so I just started with the RPG when God of War became an RPG. That was the one
Yes.
where I was like, "Oh, I can play this." But the other one, especially the JRPGs, I said, "Listen here,
They're
I'm not
huge.
about
Yeah.
to keep doing this. Like, this is gonna take hours, and now I'm even more of an adult. I cannot.
I get you on
I
that.
cannot like spend this time." And so,
It
um,
is how that kind of like almost overwhelming feeling is how I feel about MMOs a little bit, because
yeah,
they're just like
winding
forever.
so much.
And
Yeah.
I really love, like, I know some close friends that love their MMOs, and I love watching them play them. But
Mhm.
me, I'm gonna sit over here on the linear story
Yeah.
solo. solo side. That's me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. But it really won't cease to amaze me though that like y'all was really out here like solving problems. And I'm not
Well,
saying that I wasn't like a smart kid, but like I remember picking up what game did I pick up? It was probably Call of Duty. It was on Xbox 360. It was like
yeah.
2013. And I was like, what are you supposed to do? No, that's not true. That's not true. Because I had a PlayStation. I had a
Okay.
PlayStation 3 in college. So I had gotten a
Okay.
PlayStation 3 in college. So, but I
Okay.
would play like Assassin's Creed. And literally my lifelong friends now, they were helping me because they're like, what are you doing? And
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
literally, they were like older brothers. They're like, just give me the sticks. I'm like, no, I can do it. I'm going to figure it out. But like,
I think I'm your friends in this situation where
yeah.
I do have friends where I'm like, okay, how do I want you to experience it, but how do you look like you need
Yeah.
a little bit of help. Let me
A
try and help
lot,
you.
like, literally, like, because now this is a very good segue into, like, using walkthroughs, like, because I feel like I'm
Yes.
cheating when I use walkthroughs now, only because
Yes.
I'm like, "No, you need to figure it out," and I'm such a problem solver, so it's like, why aren't you figuring this out? But, like, if I'm doing something where I'm like, "Oh, I kinda just wanna get through," like, I'll use a walkthrough, like,
Yeah.
what did
No,
I
life.
use it for? I played, Flow. Do you know Flow, the one with
Oh, I've
the
heard of it, but I've never played it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like Pokemon. You just gotta
Nice.
catch the different species, and you can unlock species by catching like, there's 4 or 5 in a group. And
Nice.
so, I was getting to the end, and I was like, "Man, I really just can't find this one thing," and it was like, "It comes out at night." And even at night in that area, I still had to
It's
sit there
already
for,
hard.
like, another, like, hour or 2, and I think it's a kid's game, and I was like, listen, I'm not getting it," you know?
Well, I
Um,
mean,
but
kids
yeah.
maybe they have more time to really dive into
Their
that. I
brain
don't know.
has to work differently because I tried to play a Lego game as an adult, and they're like, "You're supposed to smash everything." I was like, "Why would I do that?" I thought we
Oh
were
no,
just
see, that's
going
me.
from
That's me.
like,
Yeah.
the
That's the
kids do
RPG brain. You're
understand.
right. That's the
Yeah.
you found a jar, you either chuck it or
Yeah.
you pick it up and you keep it. I don't know.
Oh my
That's
goodness. I
yeah.
get a little bit scared. I'd be like, "I'm stealing." I'm like, "Am I supposed to steal right now?" Because
I mean,
sometimes I would just go into games and I'd pick it up and it'd be like, "Hey, you're
hey,
stealing," and it would scare me. I'd be like,
yeah,
"Ah!"
the classic Skyrim
Oh,
situation. Yes, yeah.
what's the game? Star
Which
Wars.
one?
I was playing Star Wars Outlaws, and
Yep.
it was like steal, and I was like, "Okay," and so I think I'm being stealthy, but as soon as you steal, they were like, "No, we see you," and I was like,
Yeah,
"Wow, y'all
yeah,
just
yeah.
playing in my face right now,
No,
like,
you
this
gotta
is
be
not a great
careful.
feeling." So, yeah, but it's cool. I think it's cool, but you guys, you have, like, a jump on the competition, so you're like, "Okay, I can see," and that has to work with you being a producer, right? Like, you are able to
Yes.
see that bigger picture because you've had that for so long. As like, I'm currently making my own game, so like I am producer, and like
Oh,
one of the
awesome.
programmers asked me something and I was like, I don't know, just like do
I
it.
don't
And they're
know.
like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
actually. And I'm like, I have to what? Like, I have to what? Like,
Yep.
and he was like, okay, let me like walk you through it, because I told them, I said, everyone on my team, I was like, if you guys don't mind like working in the Discord, not for me to watch you, but for me to understand the process.
No, it's
So when you guys
important.
are asking me questions, I can like learn what I'm supposed to learn and then give you the jargon that you need. And so um
I was
we're
definitely a bit of a complainer is not the right word. I was
okay.
just more of like a, "Hey, can we move this conversation into a channel? Hey,
Yeah.
can we move this conversation
Yeah.
into a channel?" And I think a
Yeah.
lot of producers are like that, and
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why is just
Yeah.
because like not everyone specializes in everything,
Yeah.
so sometimes you got to know the
Yeah.
context, and context helps. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I was
I'm
definitely
context all the time, always. That's I can't turn
Yeah.
that off, which is
Yeah.
like a strength
No,
and a
but like
weakness.
yeah, because it's really interesting because before people were talking about neurodivergent, people just used to be like, "Are you okay?" And I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you're just not saying
Are you
something."
okay?
Like,
Yeah. No, it's you.
yeah, like, because I would ask, like I remember this very specific example, and it's a very small thing, but we were
Yeah.
in science class, and she was like, "Take your thermometer." We had like a jar of dirt. She was like, "Take your thermometer and put it underneath." Put it
Okay.
like underneath the dirt. And I took it and I literally put it underneath the glass. And she's like, "No, that's not what I meant." And I was like, "Abajo detrás." I know. I know it. I know
You said
up
the
and
word
down.
underneath.
Like,
This is
this is
above,
underneath,
underneath.
but I just like, when I started getting into misunderstandings, I would think about that and I was like, "Oh, they said what they meant, but I filtered it and it means this to me." And she was like, "No, I meant like put it in." And I was like,
Yeah,
"That's the right word, but
that's
not
right.
to be a jerk, like not to
That's
play
right.
with semantics." So I have to then repeat back what I think you just said, right? Like,
That's right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
not every production process is the same. Like things are, yes, there's things that are universal, of
Mhm,
course, throughout
mhm.
development, but not everything is. And like that reaction that you had to being like, I put it underneath is like
Yeah.
a very normal, natural reaction. But like if you take that into a work
Yeah.
setting, it's like, okay, well, maybe if we ask a question, or maybe we're like, hold
Mhm,
on and
mhm.
talk more,
Yeah.
then it doesn't have to be so either frustrating, like sometimes it
Yeah.
just gets frustrating, or just like, you can kind of
Yeah.
figure it out together and it becomes more collaborative.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
in the
I like
dirt.
to see how people are in the dirt. I need to, like, put
In the
that, like,
dirt.
on a pin or something,
Yeah.
their neurodivergence, because in,
In.
on, in. Maybe you can change the pin to on to in.
Does the
Um,
thermometer need to touch the dirt or no?
like, yes or no? Like, yeah, like, should I put it up to 50 or, like, 7? Like, which
That's it.
line, you
That's
know?
it.
Because that's another part of it. I really like to watch how you do it or ask you how you do it, and not to copy you, but to be like, but if I get to the result, then that's fine. Like,
That's it.
what's your KPI? Like, tell me
That's
your
it.
KPI,
That's it.
and then I can
Yes.
just do it. And it doesn't matter if I throw the dirt up in the air and then it lands on the thing. Like, it doesn't
Yes.
matter. I could just get to it. And so that's all. And I thank God that I am like a journalist by trade, because then I get to ask those questions and I get to be
Yes.
curious, and then I can understand what, like,
Yes.
questions need to be asked so people can make it clear to me.
That's it.
And so, like, is that a part of, like, how, first of all, we're getting, well, there's so many branches to, like, this
Yeah,
conversation,
I
and
know.
I want to touch all of them. But they're on the same timeline, so we're gonna work with it. But, like, you know, how does that work? Because you don't just work, like, you guys aren't, the singular company, like, making a different game. Like, you're not a Ubisoft, you're not, a Red
That's right.
Links, like, or Linux. No, it's
Yeah.
Links. You're not like Red Links. Like,
Links.
you're helping all these other people. So you're talking about the process is different. Like,
That's right.
how are you able to meet what people are asking you? Like, how are you able to do, and clients everywhere are the same. They don't know what they're asking for, or they have a misunderstanding, delusions
Yeah.
of grandeur, because they're very excited about their product.
Yeah.
So how are you able to, like, communicate, like, um, not like set expectation, because you can be like, yeah, we can do that. However, this is what it looks like. Like, how are you able to do that? And what are some skills that
That's
led up to you doing
yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's got layers.
Yeah,
There's
it's an
layers
onion.
to that one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways I think that we do that, and I'm gonna say we a lot. But I think it kind of goes the creative part kind of goes hand in hand with the production part, and that's like a larger game development topic. But at least for us at Sweet Baby, you know, the first thing that happens is someone comes to us with a need or a want, right? They're like, okay, well, this is what it is right now. This is what the game looks like. This is where we are in production, like a typical production timeline for a game. And then they're like, this is what we want. And sometimes they're even a step ahead and they're like, this is what we thought we want. We don't actually know what we want. And that's also totally fine. That's kind of normal.
Yeah.
And so after that, it's a lot of asking questions. It's a lot of listening. And it's a lot of like collective thinking. I think at some point, we just kind of all get on the same page with whatever the client has in terms of documentation. And then we talk over what the needs were from the client and that what we think what we actually think the needs are, and then
Yeah.
sometimes it's we got to mold those two together, because we can't
Mhm.
just do what we think you need. That's not how that works either. But it's usually like, all right, you have to look at the market, whatever this genre this game exists in already, the context of how this game is being built, what other studios or publishers or developers are involved in the project. And that's kind of where I come in, because that's a lot of production conversations, and then the actual creative needs. And then we go in and it's a lot of talking, and it's a lot of thinking and strategizing about what that need is before we start like producing documents or script writing or providing a character outline, eh,
So they can't
reports.
even come and talk to you until they know like an outline of what
They
they want, or can they be like,
No, as in no, so sorry, we create those things. We
yeah,
usually get, like an introduction, and then we talk and absorb first,
okay,
because usually they already have something. I don't
okay,
think it's pretty rare for them to say like we've got no story, because even if your game's not a narrative game, you've got a world, you've
yeah,
got game mechanics, you've got characters. That's already some story. Where did those things come from? And so that's the tasty part for me, is
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah,
cool. Tell me more about what you want to convey,
yeah,
and why and how. And then we get into that together. And then we say, okay, well, based on what you want to convey, these are the ways you could do it, or these are the ways you could do it.
okay,
And it's an evolving conversation, because that's kind of like the magic, if you will, the
mhm,
arcane science of
mhm,
games is, like gameplay, game design, all of the other disciplines, they got to work together to make sure that the story you're telling is hitting all the points and making the player feel what you want them to feel at any given time. And that's takes time, and it takes a lot of talking, and it takes a lot of like questions and pushback and kind of debating on things. And then you get into the writing of it all.
okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I
Yeah.
asked about like, what are the prerequisites that they have to have before they come to you? While
Yeah.
I was in Finland, I was like looking into like starting a business, and they
Yeah.
were like, your client should know what they want. And I was like, no, I think that's my job to have the idea. And they were like, well, no, they should have like an idea so that you can build on that idea. So, um,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
the
it's
more the
less
more
stressful.
information that you have, and the more you know what you want to do, always the better, I think. Even just outside of like working with clients and working with other studios, I've just come to learn that the more intentional you are, if you've got a direction that you want to go, like let's say, for example, you want to make, I don't know, a love story, or you want to make, a story about a specific type of conflict between one type of character and another type of character. Um, the whys and the hows, and all of those questions, I think the more you know, even if you don't know if that's the right choice to make, the more you know and the more context you give us, the more we're able to go, okay, well, this is why they want these things. There might be a different way to actually do this or execute on this. And that's kind of our superpower a little bit, because we've been able to kind of come together, have a collective of people at Sweet Baby that have different perspectives, different work experiences, and like all sorts of different skills that can kind of like think about story and how to tell a story in a game differently. And that's something that can be rare, because on some projects it's just one writer, or it's just like a small team of people. And so that's, I think, the need, or the benefit of working with us, at least. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good. That's really
Yeah.
good. So you said you just joined 3 years ago,
That's right.
which is a blink of an eye. I can only
Yes.
imagine. Like, did you have to
Yes.
count and be like, wait, that was
Yeah, when
2020?
when exactly was that? Yes. It feels Time doesn't feel real anymore.
No,
The
I don't know if
pandemic
it's
kind
being
of
an
really.
adult. Maybe it's being an
Yeah,
adult, like in the
maybe.
and the pandemic, but I don't like. It could be Friday. I don't know. Like, who
No,
knows?
it definitely doesn't feel like
No.
Friday
Okay.
yet.
Not.
I
Yeah.
For sure it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like Friday yet.
Yeah, 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 facts, facts. I think it did
Yes.
yesterday. I was
Yeah.
watching like Bob's Burgers, and I was like, ha! Like I'm
Oh, there you
cackling, like
go.
I didn't have any worries. I was like, this is great. And then I was like,
No,
yeah, you gotta get up tomorrow.
Bob's Burgers is the best to do that with,
Bob's
though.
Burger, Bob, Linda, Louise,
I
please,
know.
if you're
They were
listening, please.
I just put Bob's Burgers on while I was packing
Yeah.
for my trip. Like, I just like to
It's a
put that
it's a
on
get done
and do
show.
some stuff. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. When I
Yep,
was packing to leave Finland, it was
yep,
Bob's Burgers for like a week. Like I was
yep,
like episode 1 on. Like I
yep,
just I it's a get done show. Like some shows you're
yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm going to sit down and kind of just like relax." That's not Bob's Burgers because it's so
No,
energetic, it's so funny.
it's
Like,
fantastic.
they're moving, they're going very fast.
Yes.
Not sponsored by
Yeah.
Bob's Burgers, but looking for it soon.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, they're great.
yeah.
We love them.
We love them. I have the cookbook. I started making
No
burgers from the
way!
cookbook and then, like, post like, I love Bob's Burgers, like
I
and
did
I
a
would even
presentation in
Really?
university that was Bob's Burgers themed. It
Oh
was
my
like it
god.
wasn't even like the
Yeah.
content wasn't even related to
Just
Bob's
had to
Burgers.
put it in there.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to I knew everyone would love it.
Yeah, and we're talking about your time being a blink of an eye, but, like, to me, Bob's Burgers came out, like, last week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's been out this
Yeah.
year, like, it's still really good, the story like, I
Yes.
haven't gotten tired of it, and even sometimes I watch it, and I'm like, "I don't even remember this episode," like,
Yeah,
"Let me
no,
go
it's
back
great.
and watch, like, this season or that season again."
It's great.
What's one of your favorite jingles from the show?
Oh, no, you're putting me on the spot. I don't know. See, I'm terrible at, lyrics and names of
Okay,
anything, but I
okay,
can do visuals. That's
okay,
my thing.
okay,
I'm way more visual.
okay.
But God, I you know what? We went through my family and I went through, some of the Christmas episodes recently.
Absolutely.
And I remember they lost their Christmas tree that they were bringing
Yeah.
to, like, the
Yeah.
cabin or something,
Yeah.
and that is maybe not my favorite, but
Yeah.
is top of mind. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't have a title for you, though, I'm sorry.
Mine is burgers and fries. Do you
Oh,
want
that's a
some burgers
classic.
and fries? I'm
That's
gonna
a
tell you, you know what?
classic.
Yeah. And it was my ringtone. And my friend was like, "Can you cut that off?" I was like, "No, I'm living
No!
my best life." Like,
No!
yeah. Yeah. I really
No,
like
that's good.
burgers and fries. And
That's
anything
good.
Gene produces, a banger, right?
Strongly agreed.
Anything Gene produces is absolutely a
Strongly
banger. And
agree. Yep.
so yeah.
Whoa, whoa, slow down, Janae. We almost don't have time to tell the people about the sponsor today, which is the Pink On the Seat Gaming Chair review that is posted up on my channel. I reviewed this chair over like a year ago, probably about three, all right? And honestly, it was one of my favorite chairs with the pink color pop and it being 25% bigger than the Jungle On the Seat Gaming Chair. If you don't know what these are, after the episode, go to the link in the description to check out the review. Not only is there a video review, there's also a written review on Tom's Hardware. All right, Janae, back to you.
What were you
That's good.
doing before Sweet Baby Inc?
It's
What
a good
led up
question.
to it?
I was kind of all over the place. I did project management, just generally. That's the theme, which kind of makes sense now that I'm a producer. I was working in student affairs. I got one of like my major jobs. You do retail, part-time, normal stuff. But then I was working in student affairs as like a community advisor.
Nice.
So I that was my first experience managing like 100-person team with a couple other people. And I was like, like early 20s. So that was like it was like a pillar, I would say, in terms of like just learning how to organize a team, learning how to document things and make it like accessible to like, okay, this is what we need to do and why we need to do it, and then get everybody on board, like that kind of thing. I saw quickly, I was like, oh, I like this stuff, and after that, I actually worked in the fitness industry briefly and did kind of a
Okay.
similar thing where it was like kind of admin, project management, kind of helping
Wait a
to
minute.
run
Let's
operation
pause right
stuff.
here because I have questions. I
Do you? Do you?
I
Do
don't know a
you?
lot about the fitness industry besides, what people kind of portray and like I think if there's anything involving human bodies, it's gonna get weird. It's gonna
Yep.
get like
Yep.
unpleasant. So like Is that
Yeah. Yes. It was a strange, felt like a strange paradox, because even if I'm speaking from personal experience.
How'd you go?
What
How'd you
happened?
go, honey?
What?
Go. That's my
Did
pit
your dog
bull.
do something, right?
She's built like a tank, and I'm trying to move her, and she's literally
Is
80%
this the
head.
dog? This is who you brought with you to Finland? Oh my god,
Yes,
I love pit bulls. I think they're
yes.
the
I'll
cutest.
I'll show you to her when we're
Yeah, you got
done.
to.
But like, she was just right up under me, and I was like, "Okay, go." Like at first, I was like nudging her, and then I had to put my arm into
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
get out the
yeah.
way. She's strong, boy. She is strong. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the it was a weird it was like a weird paradoxical feeling. I definitely was a gym rat myself, and I say was because the pandemic really changed my lifestyle, and I think for the better. Like, I think I needed
Do
to
you
slow
think you're
down,
you're getting carried away?
and
You
I'm
was
glad.
protein
Yeah, exactly.
throwing back the protein shakes,
That's
the
it, right? It
yeah,
was, and that's the thing, is like I was definitely my strongest and my fittest, but I was also so critical of myself
yeah,
and trying to maintain all of that. And so I think that's the kind of catch-22, is like
yeah.
there are lots of good people that I met in the fitness industry, but there's also lots of toxic things about the fitness industry. And like, it's tough to see people talk to themselves the way I was talking to myself,
Yeah.
and like being so strict, and like, life is short. Like, life is short. Eat more than that, please, Maria,
Yeah,
past Maria.
yeah,
And also, like, being the most fit you can possibly be, maybe not is like the goal you need to maintain all the
yeah.
time, right? Like, there's mental health to consider. There's like community and support, and going out and going to dinner and eating terrible food with your best friends. Like, stuff like that's also important in your life. So
How
uh
did that
yeah.
n not mesh with your culture? Like, we have a
Yeah.
very food-centric culture, or like it's a very
Oh
part
yeah.
of us, and we love it, and so
Oh yeah.
if you were like restricting yourself and you were still around family where they're like, "What are you doing?"
I
Or
think that's the thing. It was a
yeah.
time in my life where I wasn't around family that much.
Ah, okay.
And like I was away, like I've been away from home for a long time, and
Yeah.
I kept in contact with my family for the most part online when I
Yeah.
can. And so I was kind of on my own, and I was
Yeah.
kind of like trying to figure out what was the easiest way and fastest way to cook a meal, as you do,
Yeah,
like
for
as you
sure.
do in your early 20s,
'Cause
and
sometimes
onward.
eating's overwhelming, you know? Like,
Well,
at
yeah.
this point in my life, I romanticize every meal, so, like, I make sure I do eat, like, literally,
Yes.
like, I have, like, grapes, I have,
Oh
just
yeah.
something, like, at every meal, so I'm like, "Oh, wow, this is, like, really pretty," and I wanted to eat it. Otherwise, I'm like, "What do you mean, what am I eating for dinner? I ate yesterday!"
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, especially, I don't know if this is true for you too. Like, my Caribbean family are grazers. Like, the whole family snacks all the time. Like,
Yeah,
we'll do a couple, like, yeah, sure, we'll definitely do meals. But
yeah,
I got so much in the habit of grazing that I never felt hungry, and I never felt full, and that was easy to,
ah,
I think, undereat at the
okay.
time,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
We got through that. That's okay.
Yeah, good, 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 good. Thank you for sharing that because you didn't
No,
have to, and I
absolutely.
definitely asked,
Absolutely.
but it's a thing. Like, it's really weird how like food can become like a weird thing. Like, no matter what you're doing,
Mhm.
you're trying to be fit, or you're doing some caloric diet, and I think it's just important because you can not even realize like
Yes.
I think when I was in Finland, like, I would just be on the phone with my friend, I'm like, "I'm hungry," and she'd be like, "Girl,
Yeah.
why?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean why?" Like,
What
what do you say to why? Like, what do you say to, like,
What do you
why? Like,
You're
w
hungry. That's just a thing that happens. What do you
like
mean? Yeah, yeah.
and so she'd be like, "So what are you gonna eat?" I'd be like, "I don't know, I guess I'm just, like, wait till dinner," and she's like, "If you
No, have
don't
a snack.
eat something, like, right now," and so, like, now I have to have, like, a lunch or something else, which is what I want it to be, but I just
Yeah.
adjusting to life is rough. Like,
Yeah.
you went from doing something in like education, like a community stuff to like, doing the fitness thing, and you really are your environment. Like you really are
Yes.
your environment. And so,
Truly.
and you want to be
Yes.
the best. You want to surround yourself with people who are like better than you. So then you're doing these things and you're like, well,
Yes.
that's not working for me. It's probably not even working for them, but like that's really not working for me. So
Yes, exactly. Yep.
whew,
And then the jump into games wasn't it's not much of a story. It's just that 2020 happened, a lot of hiring freezes happened,
yeah.
and I was job searching, I think for a whole year, stressed
Yeah.
out of my mind. And that's when I started living with family because that's kind of what you have to do sometimes. I had a few existing contacts and connections in games, and
Okay.
so they were like, "Oh, we'll go talk to this person, go talk to this person," and eventually that led me to Kim at Sweet Baby, and the timing was right, and they were looking
Yeah.
for more people. And then I joined. I joined as like a production coordinator, communications coordinator type deal for like 3 months, and then I quickly was like right into production, and
Nice.
that was great. Yeah,
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 that's amazing. So, like,
yeah.
during the hiring process, they weren't like, "Wow, why don't you have 12 years of producing experience?" Or it was actually, like, reasonable because how many years in
Correct.
total do you have with, like, producing project managing?
Yeah, if we're counting project management, that's oh god, like it's not an amazing number, but it's like 6 or
Okay.
7 ish, right?
Yeah. So that
But
was, like,
because
your
it's
thing.
not, yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
because it's not game specific.
Yeah.
That was the only caveat, and I think that's why I eased into the role, and we started on like smaller indie projects that were like just more manageable in general, and then we got to some of those bigger things most
Wow, who would have
recently.
thought that they actually wanted to have you grow and
Yes,
teach you the skills
and
that you
give me a
didn't
bit of a
know?
chance, and now we're here.
Wow.
It turns out that that works. Yeah, that
Yeah,
works.
amazing. Yeah, they be wildin'. They be wildin' out here, like, for no money too, like, how you gonna
The
be you have to pick a struggle, right? Like, isn't that what we tell
Yeah,
people to pick a struggle? And they're like,
yeah,
"Oh, we actually want you to have all of this, but it's a junior role." And it's like,
yes.
either way, I still have to learn. Like, I
And
still have to
like
learn what you want me to
sometimes
do.
that doesn't pay rent in a city that someone lives in, and what do you like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, you know?
Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so you got into the gaming industry when a lot of people were experiencing the downward of this
I think it
chart
was just before. I
just
think it
before.
was like, let's say 6 months before. And I think that's also like speaks to how strange it feels to have jumped into the industry now of
Yeah.
all times.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely like there were more hires after me. And I think everyone was still in a good mood for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like to work with Sweet Baby Inc. at a time where um, the industry was kind of going through this overturn and this
Yeah.
release of like really good talent? Like, were you ever like nervous, or did you see like a slowdown on like projects? I don't know if you can talk about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, what did that look like and how did it feel?
Yeah, it was a good, I wanna say it was, I said 6 months earlier, I wanna say, like, 6 months to a year of, like, a plateau. So, I
Okay.
didn't at least I could get my bearings first and, like,
Yeah.
really better understand different games processes and different, like, development styles, before any of that kind of happened. I think the first news of the layoffs, yeah, I'm trying to think back about how I felt and how everyone felt around me. I'm kind of an anxious person myself generally. Like I like to much to me being a producer, I like to plan a lot and I like to think ahead a lot. And so as soon as I got the inkling of like, oh my god, this company did this or did this layoffs, I think people were not totally surprised because that's not totally new to the tech industry. Like that, this has happened before in other
Yeah.
ways. But I think what was different about this time around, and it was like my I'm just in it. I'm just kind of starting. Was everyone talking about just it being unprecedented or it being like, okay, well, yeah, one or two or like, a couple months of this news, but it just kept going. And I think that really tipped me off to being like, okay, well, I don't know how to feel about that yet. And it was a kind of a low level amount of unease for a while.
Yeah.
And then absolutely, I think later on, as we have now done, what is that, 3 years, 2 years. I said a year, 2 years of like layoff after layoff after this news after, oh, it's someone you know now, or it's a mutual friend, or
Yeah.
it's oh, this person has done something amazing on this other game that you love, and now this has happened.
Yeah.
that that hit, I think that hits everybody no matter what. And I think I don't think it got easier, but it got more comfortable to just talk about that across studios, across our ongoing collaborations with clients. It was just like it's commonplace to talk about it. And it kind of comes out like, I don't think I can speak to like specific client experiences, but it comes out in just like, yep, for this thing we're still looking for funding, so that might impact this, or like, oh, we do want to do this kind of work, or we want to move forward on this part, but we are looking for funding, or mm, actually we've had some sort of merge, or like, oh, there is this team that is no longer there, and so we need to reshuffle everything. And so you can kind of get a sense, just overall you get that like sixth sense of like, oh yeah, this is a bit of a special time in the industry right now.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine because you're like, if they're great and I just got here, why I'm gonna
What's
be.
happening? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yes.
think I think that's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's really good that you have that experience because a lot of people don't. And I think one of my
Yes.
favorite things about talking to people is everyone's experience is different.
Yes.
I'm not discounting like the anxiousness of the situation.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, I have also heard like these like dredged deep trench stories of like, and people are still trying to do it, and like,
Yeah.
it's really nice. It's just really nice that there are two sides, because you could be like, well, this person went through it and they came out better, and it's like
Yep.
Maria's going through it, and like, especially with people can relate with anxiety. Like,
Oh yeah.
it didn't happen to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe they can calm down. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's okay to
Yes.
just take a breath. And so
Yes.
I really like hearing that. I really like
Yeah.
hearing that
And
you
a
were.
part of it is like, for me, I always try and tell myself like, you can have the emotions about it, right? Like
Absolutely.
that's normal, and everyone's going to get stressed.
Yeah.
But then what are you going to do about it? And
Yeah.
the answer is we got to keep working. Like we got to keep doing what we're doing, and like we have to keep talking with people and finding ways for skilled game devs to keep doing what they want to do, because that is, I think, why the games industry is so great and why people love to play games, is because those game devs really, really, really care. And that's partially why I became a producer, because I want to help those game devs make that experience for other people. All those games that I played in my childhood, especially RPGs, all of that came from game devs who care, and
Yeah.
who are really thinking about this stuff and doing a lot of work. So I wanted to support that. Yeah.
Maria, what are your technical skills? Like, what what does it take? Like, what is something
To be a
that you had
producer.
to work
Yeah.
for, a project manager and producer? Like, what is your technical skill?
Yeah. There's a list. I keep seeing my list and being like, oh, I need to add this to it. I need to add this to it. But yeah, I think for me, one of my strengths is just being able to adapt to whatever the heck anyone else needs to use at that time. So before games, it was just Excel sheets. It was looking at numbers. It was tracking dates. It was making sure things lined up, and then communicating that all the way through different teams. And so the technical skills come down to like, okay, do you know how to use this piece of software, and how accessible is it to everyone else on that team? And I think, a lot of that lies in soft skills that are sometimes hard to It's kind of hard to describe almost. Like, it is a mixture of knowing software and being able, even if you don't know the software very well, you need to be able to go into something, create something that makes sense and is easy to describe to someone else, and then be able to kind of relay that back after approval. And I think that's kind of a vague, I don't know if I'm actually answering your question, but
I think you
it's,
are answering the
yeah,
question in an
yeah,
important way that is not like I'm an artist and I'm a producer. I'm a coder and I'm a
yes,
producer. I'm a game design person and I'm a producer. Because that can be a bit taunting to be like,
mm,
oh, well, I could do this great thing, but then it's like I just decided to produce, and like you're using like your skills of organization, you're using your skills of research,
that's right.
and like understanding people and what the people
Yes,
need, and accessibility and things like that
that's
to
it.
carve a path for yourself
Yeah.
in a space
For
where everyone feels like they need to be so technical.
Yes, I think for me as well, like, as you're talking about that, one of the things that stands out to me is empathy and emotions.
Empathy, put your face in
Yeah.
front of me. Put yourself in front of me. It's from Adventure Time. I don't remember, but yeah.
You know what? I feel guilty saying this out loud, but I've only watched like mini episodes when it's been playing at a friend's. I
Mm.
need to watch it.
My
Adventure
first thought
Time.
was throw tomatoes, but then I know that we are evolved women. And
I
we don't,
It's okay. I would let it happen and I would understand and then we would move
yeah.
forward.
It's
That's all good.
good, but like,
Yeah.
also maybe if you watched it now, you'd be like I started watching it like in college, like, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then it evolved into like this crazy story. Cause at first it was just kind of like, it wasn't canonical
Yep.
at all. But then it
Yeah.
was just like, hey, remember that random thing you never thought we'd like look at again? It's actually a big
Yeah.
deal. Like,
We're bringing it
um,
back. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was good. It has a place in my heart, definitely. But yeah, you have to watch it. What about regular show? Did you watch
Yeah,
regular
yeah.
show?
Oh, I'm like slowly catching up. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
really bad at shows and movies.
No, that's
It
cool. So what's like so
it's
like your
kind of
thing is games? Like that's
is
like your thing?
games. Like,
Okay.
I
So
will play hours and hours, well, because it's RPGs, right? So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's where I sink a lot of my time into.
yeah,
And if I really like a story or a game, I'll
yeah.
spend hours in it. So that's,
I
yeah,
find it easier
yeah,
to watch shows and anime
yeah,
dubbed when I'm working because I can get through
yes,
it. I can get through like a season. But I also
yes,
think that's the being an entrepreneur, right? Because I gotta do this
100%.
podcast, and then I gotta edit this podcast, and then I gotta edit it for social, and then I
You
gotta do
got stuff
this.
to
And so
do.
it's like, and I don't want to watch someone play a certain game because I want to like know what that feels like. But other things, I'm like, yeah, that's
See, I'm
whatever. So
kind of the opposite. I know if there's a game that I know I can't play for whatever reason, it might be too
yeah,
stressful for me to play,
yeah,
or I'm just like, you know what? There are so many games out there. I don't know if I can't play them all. I just literally can't play them all. I like having, it's kind of like having a buddy, like it's
yeah,
that
yeah.
parasocial relationship
Oh,
where you
that's really
like see
sweet.
them
Yeah.
react and
I
I'm
don't
like
play games that
reacting.
well for someone to be they would rage at me, Like, my walkthrough is not the one you would wanna watch. Like, that's the one you watch live and you're like, "You just had to be there." Like,
I,
don't watch the
again,
VOD.
empathy, I might just be like, she's gonna get it. I'll go do my other chores here and check
Yeah.
back, and she'll get it. I know she'll get it.
Yeah.
So
I've been stuck on stuff for, like, 2 streams, and I'm like, "Alright, I'm just gonna end the stream, you guys." And then just figure it out, like,
wave the white
th
flag.
yeah,
Yeah,
this has been, amazing. Yeah, I think that's really great though because I love the last part that you said because
yeah,
I'm like, okay, if Maria's thing is games, like that's what you're gonna do,
yeah,
then like how caught up are you, like what's all the games that you're playing, and we
yeah,
have this in society,
yeah,
overconsumption that doesn't stop just because it's gaming. And like
yeah,
back in the day I used to get 3 games at once. Like I would walk into GameStop and I'd be like, okay, give me like my quick game that I could like like today it would be something like Fall Guys. Like I'd be like, let me play Fall Guys for 20 minutes to get my mind focused, and then I'm going to start working. And
yep,
then I would be like, okay, then I would get like my longer game, and then I would get my like multiplayer game. Like that was
Right.
like, the thing. And like even then I was kind of doing a lot, but I would have time to play them
Yes.
too, but different, also a different time in my life. So
Yes.
um it's just very interesting that you're like, I will watch someone else like play that game, because especially if you're into RPGs,
Yeah.
I like, in my head, I'm like, she's still on God of War Ragnarok, like doing all of the stuff, and maybe then you'll be at Baldur's Gate. But when we talk again in 3 years, you will have just finished Baldur's Gate, and then she's probably still on Persona 5, and then you know what
Well,
I mean?
I
Like,
don't know how you know all this information right now, but I have literally started Baldur's Gate like
stop!
a month ago,
Yeah,
and I
yeah, yeah,
love it. And
yeah,
you'll see me in 5 years. It's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's your money's worth, right? Like
Oh,
like
it's
I
the
I
best.
haven't played Spider-Man because I didn't want people to ruin it for me, because people are so hype about it. And that came
Yeah.
out like 2017. I'm just
Yeah. No,
waiting. I'm just waiting
take
because
your
I just
time.
want to be a web slinger so bad. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I really hope they do a good job with the Black Panther one, because I really
Yeah.
just want the
I'm
same, like,
excited.
like
Yeah.
roomy feeling of just being able to just, so I haven't played
Yeah.
Spider-Man yet, because I'm like, y'all were so hype about it that like you were almost doing too much. And this isn't to say that they can't be hype about it, but I was like, I don't know how much I could take. I don't know if I could play Spider-Man, talk Spider-Man, watch Spider-Man,
Yeah.
be Spider, and I feel like one of the movies had came out then. Yeah, the one,
Yeah.
maybe that was a little bit after the Gwen Stacy one, but with
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield. Yeah. But I was like, I can't have that much Spider-Man, because then I don't want to run the risk of not liking something.
That's
Like
it.
I will take time away, so I like it. And so
I think
right now,
there's a state of mind you need to be in for
yeah.
certain RPGs, and I think it's totally okay to just wait until. And if it's like years later, I don't think
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta make sure that you can enjoy the game you want to as much as possible. That's the
Yeah.
main thing.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
main
how I
thing.
feel about Star Wars Outlaws, because
Yeah.
only a couple of years ago did I watch like Star Wars from the Rudy to the Tootie, and I'm barely at the Tootie, because I was like, wait,
Yeah.
why is this happening? Now y'all want
Yeah.
me to watch Clone War? Like now you want
Yeah.
me to
It's a
watch a
lot.
TV show?
It's
Like
a
give
lot.
me the cliff notes. But
Yeah.
I do have like a liking for Star Wars. Like if there's a Star Wars movie, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. Like I'm happy. I can't say excited, because I know them Star Wars fans are real. They're really real about Gleep Glorp and Beef Borp, okay? They're very serious about them, and I don't know who they are.
Well,
So
one of them is my older brother, so I'm a little bit
uh,
lucky because
yeah,
I get Spark Notes from
yeah,
him, and
yeah,
that is so helpful
yeah.
because
Such a big world.
some fandoms I'm too
Yeah,
late. It's just too late to
yeah.
join, but I like
Doctor
it, but
Who.
I just don't
Yeah,
like it like that. And so
yeah,
I get info from him, and it's a great thing. It's
yeah,
really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're very happy to share too. Like they're
Well,
very
that's
happy
it.
to like
That's it.
just be like, and this, and you're like, great. I didn't have to watch 6 movies, because we just
That's
had
it.
like an hour-long conversation. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
That's really cool. So
Yeah.
with that being said, I
Yeah.
am playing the Star Wars Outlaws game, which I know a lot of people are upset about. But
Yeah.
one, I didn't pay for it, right? Someone
Yeah.
gave it to me. So I'm looking
Yeah.
at it from a different lens. So I'm never going to be shady and be like, what's wrong with you guys? What I do think is that it has a lot of content. And I
Yes.
think, but if you just can't stand to play it, like, I guess who cares that there's a
Yeah.
lot of content? But I think people might have got what they paid for. And I say that very like low, very like,
Yeah.
let's calm down. But I think people got what they pay for, because there's a lot. I did have to button map it, because it's interesting that they want you to press in the right
Yeah.
thumbstick, though, to be fair, to like do action. I don't think it's accessible. I
Yeah.
don't think it's accessible. I don't think, it's not second nature. We have just been doing things with like an A or an X or a trigger, or even like just
Well,
something
there's
else.
combos now too if you want to do a trigger and a button. There's a
Yeah.
couple different ways, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little hard to know which one feels the best, I guess, in the right
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
not it's not my expertise, but like,
And then if you're also playing a game, and like the buttons are frustrating, you're gonna feel that and be like, this game is already like, because
Yes.
sometimes I play, and this is me developing my
Yeah.
RPG brain,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
this isn't intuitive at all. I'm like, what do they want me to do? And then
Oh, yeah.
now I'm fumbling with the controls, and so
Yeah.
it kind of comes out. So I stepped away from it for a little bit, but I have enjoyed it when it's like I'm at the end of my day and I'm like, oh, let me just turn on Star Wars, and it's like, well, I don't really have to do anything. Right. I'm
Just
like,
get
I
into
don't,
a world. Yeah.
yeah, and it's nice to try to like do the pirate raids or like do the racing or
Yes.
something like that. So
The
I
the
yeah.
main thing I think I've talked about, not the main thing I've talked about. That's not. Let me restart that. The I found an interesting thing learning that I am mostly a console gamer. I know there's a lot of us out there, but I'm not. I'm a console gamer, but I really like RPGs and I really like simulation games. Like we're talking like your farm sims or sims themselves,
Yeah.
and those two genres are mostly on PC. There's a lot of them
Yeah.
are PC only,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for that
Yeah.
because the UI can get complicated, and it's
Yeah.
so much better
Yeah.
overall to have a
Because
mouse
having
and
to use the
keyboard.
same button for something, but you press another button to like
Oh,
click it,
it's
like that's a
well,
lot.
like people might call me crazy, but I play Baldur's Gate 3 on PlayStation. I don't play it on PC, and that's maybe a
Whoa, we're
crazy
getting
move.
radical out here. Let's hold back a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And
like I said,
you
yucking
know,
anybody's yum. Like it's
it's I got used to console, and that is how I do it, and even if
yeah.
it's like a little bit weird and it feels a little bit weird, I feel fine with a controller, so
Yeah, and it's
that's
what you
my
know
way.
too. Like, did you grow up with a PlayStation? Like, is that like
Yes,
your
I did.
yeah, some things are
I
just
did.
easier. Like, I was reviewing a controller and I was just so surprised because it was an Xbox controller, but it looked like a PlayStation. And
Yeah.
because I've had like a PlayStation for so long, I like dedicated a part of my life to like get to know Xbox so I could be well rounded.
Yeah.
And if you're on a PC, you might as well just buy an Xbox controller. Like
That's
now it's
it.
easy to put the PlayStation controller, but before you had to finagle, do this and do that.
Yep.
But now everything is just plug and play, and so
Yep.
it was just interesting, like seeing the PlayStation controller in my hand, and I was like, "What?" Because I still had
Yeah.
to use the buttons, but X, A, and X weren't the same. Like I still had to use like the 1, 2, 3, like the fourth button, and so
Yes.
yeah, but
A, B,
like we were
X,
talking
Y,
about
whatever.
earlier, we were talking about our Caribbean culture earlier about like how we get frustrated and then we're speaking in our language, even if we haven't been thinking in it or we don't really express it, but like when you're done, it's like
Yeah.
factory default, right? like
Yes.
that's
Yes.
your setting. That's like
That's
your
it.
setting. Like because I can eat like if you have a PlayStation and I'm playing on Xbox and you're like, what button I could press? I'm easily gonna be like, oh yeah, like triangle, like
That that
square,
that
like
one.
circle.
That one
You,
right there is what
you,
you press. I don't know what it's called.
like
That one. That button.
the one that does the running. Just press all of them. I'll wait for you. Like
Sometimes the look my partner gives me, just like that blank stare of like, "Can you use any words?" And I'm like, "No, just
just
get
do
it."
the
Like
thing.
just
That's also our
no.
culture. Get the thing.
It is.
Get the
Yeah.
thing and do the
Oh yeah.
thing and hand me the
It,
thing
it's gr-
quickly.
it's really funny because when we all get together, that's exactly how we'll talk, and
Yeah.
then the partners who didn't
Yeah.
grow up with that
No.
language are like, "How are you doing anything right now?" Because I haven't heard a single particular
Synergy.
noun.
Yeah. There's this guy. It was such a funny video. This guy is working with a Jamaican,
Yeah.
and he was like, "We're fixing a sink," and he's like, "Go get the something," and he's like, "This," and he's like, "No man, there's something," and like, and he's like this, and like everyone in the comments is like, he's like
Context
first-handedly
clues.
like experiencing our childhood because get the thing, and like literally, he was like, the Jamaican guy ended up taking a break because he was so stressed out, and I was like, yeah, yeah,
Damn.
but
Yeah.
seeing that is how we grew up. Do you think that's helped you with like producing and understanding people? Because we do have to
I
have an intuitive nature to survive at home and be like, this
Yes.
is the thing to do and this is the thing not to do, not by learning, but by being like, I
Yes.
believe this is what's expected of me.
Yes. I mean, even I think adding, it's like, yes, and because I'm mixed race, the other side of the family spoke a different language. And so, like, that added to it as well is like, yeah, I am all about context and information and like just trying to suss things out. so
Yeah.
so I think that's also a big part of production, you know? Like sometimes you don't necessarily know what need is connected to another need. And you don't necessarily like you're not as a producer you're not necessarily meant to know unless you are specializing. You're not meant to know every single little thing about what a dev is doing or how they do it or why, right? But you do need to know how everything's going to move forward, and sometimes that means you need to zoom in and out of all sorts of different things. And how do you do that? Well,
Perspective.
you gotta figure out the kinds of different languages that people speak when they're making games, and then have everything connect together. And it's a big task sometimes.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I think because that I don't think that's not a technical skill. I think that's a soft skill. Like, are you
Yeah.
able to switch perspectives,
Yes.
and be able to cater to one person, especially artists? Oh, I love them. But
Yeah.
y'all are, I'm just so happy you have the brain that you have. But like, golly, and I used to be a teacher. So
Yeah.
because I never wanted to talk to like kids, like they were like, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm able to
No.
like bring that to adults and be like, so you catch me or you don't catch me. So what do you
Yeah.
think? What do you think I'm
That's
trying to,
great.
and
No,
even
that's
like
great.
talking to like my nieces of being like, so what do you think we should do though? Like instead of me just being like,
Yes.
do,
That's it.
what do you think we should do? Like tell me. And especially because that's a discipline
Yes.
that I'm not an artist. I can understand accessibility and colors, but I still get lost on the color wheel. I'm like, what goes with green? Oh yeah, think of Bugs Bunny, a carrot, orange. Orange goes with green. Like, I have a thought
Yeah.
process, and they're immediately like, oh, I know the tertiary colors that like go together, or
That's
I know
it.
like
That's
this
it. Or this
lighting is gonna
palette.
make
I've
it
made
look
this
weird.
palette in 2 seconds. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I'm like, well, what do you think we should do? And
Yeah.
but yeah, that's also me having been a client and my friend being an artist, and she's like, no, you need to say this is what you want to accomplish or give examples and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know
There's
if
a
that's
balance there. Yeah, there's a balance there. Like I'm thinking back to my experience with Sweet Baby, like there's a balance between asking and learning and kind of figuring out from learning from the studio that we're working with, how they do things and what they want, and at the same time knowing when to suggest something different or push back on that idea for a certain reason. It's both. You like it's kind of crazy. Like you have to do both. And I think that's kind of the fun part because I then get to listen to, like, for example, all of the leads on a project, and sometimes they're clearly at odds with each other,
yeah,
and they might not even realize that at the
right,
time. They're getting frustrated though,
yeah,
and that's kind of like the part where I'm like, okay, cool. What then that's the interesting kind of little square that we have to unpack or whatever talk
yeah,
about in terms of like priority, need, what's the end goal, because they're usually aligned on a higher level. They
yeah,
usually want to get to like the most fun or like the most meaningful
yeah.
thing that they could create, and that's always going to be aligned. But how we get there is kind of how production works, I think.
Do you
So
think it's fair to say that as the producer, because everyone wants to get to the fun part, do you think it's fair that as a producer, you get everyone to that fun part? Like you kind of have to do the unfun work
oh,
of like,
yeah, sometimes,
yeah,
yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, everyone. And there's only 10 minutes in this meeting, so we got to get through. Yeah, like a little bit.
Yeah.
And that sucks because, like, if
Sometimes people are flowing and
I want everyone to have more time on their
yeah,
games. Like
yeah.
I do want. Flip side, I just said that, and I was like, Maria, I don't know about that. I
Okay.
was flip side. Sometimes it's actually better when there is a bit of pressure, and I
Yeah.
think that like knowing when to give more time or to give less time is also incredibly important. But games don't happen in a vacuum. There's budgets, there's deadlines, there's other external pressures and needs, and there's a release date under all
Yeah.
of this. So there is only so much time, and that is kind of the unfun thing, I would say. But it's an important part of game development.
let's get to the
Yeah.
hot take, which is Sweet
Yeah.
Baby Ink.
Yeah. The
Let's
whole
get to
just
the hot
that
take, right?
that's
Because
it.
I didn't
Yeah.
have one for today, and I was like, "Oh, we usually have one," but it's you, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
aside from
Oh,
the
yeah.
people that really believe in Gaming for the Culture podcast and who wanna hear
Yes.
Janae and Maria
Yes.
talk, we have some people listening because they want
Yes.
some type of hot take.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it earlier, and I said I was gonna mention it again,
Yeah.
because there's been a lot that happened. Would you mind summing up in your own words of what's been happening? Is it a year and a
Yeah.
half now? I feel like
Yeah.
I
Yes,
feel like
it
it's 2
was.
years, but it's just a year and a half.
Yeah, it's a year
Okay,
and a half,
okay.
is safe to say. I think I remember the weekend where it kind of started, and then the term "sweet baby" started trending on Twitter, on X, Twitter. And yeah, year and a half is I think is a good time estimate. I felt a little dumbfounded when it started, and it was just that we consulted on some, I think, major AAA games, God of War Ragnarok and Alan Wake 2 in particular. And I think because the way the industry is set up, in part, we are not always allowed to talk about all of the details of whatever the heck we are asked to work on. And honestly, like from a personal standpoint, that kind of sucks. Like I do wish that we could share, you know, the stuff that we work on and how we do it. I think like knowledge sharing is important, and I like transparency as a producer. So that's already a side of this where I'm like sad that that's not something that was able to happen or can happen. And so I think it turned into a bunch of people pulling different clips and pieces of media and sentences from GDC talks and information and gathering them and then creating uh, very quick, fast assumptions on a very small team. We're like pretty indie, whereas only like whatever 16 of us, I think, and then assuming I think the worst, honestly. And then us really not being able to correct it because it's not our games. We are consultants and we will help do the writing and we'll help do character outlines, we'll help do story reviews or reports, whatever the client needs. But at the end of the day, it's that client's game. And we want to work on whatever they need in order to improve their game. And I think we do that, like, I think and know we do that successfully because we're talking about really popular and games that I think a lot of people have enjoyed. Whether you're an indie or AAA fan, that doesn't, that's everyone I think has enjoyed a lot of the games. But I think the discourse that started and has just kind of like roller coastered all the way through goes beyond criticism, right? It goes into things that can't really be proven and a conspiracy that's not true and just a whole bunch of other things. And so, it resulted in us speaking to media, Kim talking and kind of explaining things as much as she can, and then at the end of all of that, a whole lot of harassment. Like just straight up a whole lot of really, really terrible things said to either me or my colleagues who are also my friends. And just, after that, when you see co-studio devs or you see colleagues who you've gotten to know and you respect their work and you appreciate your day in day out work that you do with them, they try and say something to say, hey, this is not how that's going. Sweet Baby doesn't make the rules. They suggest a lot of things, but they are not the final decision makers of any of this. Maybe don't do that. Then they get the dog pile of harassment and hate. And the hate and the harassment, I think, is a larger conversation, I think, even outside of games. But you just experience that that amount of eyes and that amount of hate on you, and you have to really think about it, and you have to still keep working, and you still have to do the thing that you're doing because you think it's important and you think it's improving the games that you work on, like genuinely. And so, yeah, I think that's the best way that I can sum it up.
You did a good job. You did a good job
Thank
summing it
you.
up. The troll language that needs to be used here of what's going on is that
Yeah,
white men, cis white men, were not interested in the work that Sweet Baby Inc. put into for something that was already created. Like we talked about earlier, right? Like
that's right.
people come to you with them and they were like,
Yeah.
we just don't want to see minorities. We
Yeah.
don't want to see minorities. At the end of the day, they don't want to see
Yeah.
minorities, and they
Yeah.
they they don't have they don't have the ability to cancel someone who is like Remedy or, like an Ubisoft or something like that. And they really don't
That's
have the
it.
ability to cancel Sweet Baby Inc. either. They thought
Yeah.
because they could count on their fingers and toes how many people work at Sweet Baby Inc. that they could be
Yep.
like, you. And like you
You
said,
messed this up. Yep.
I think, it's really, that's another piece of owning your own business is like, we didn't have PR set up for this. Like, this is
No.
not really our place to talk about it, but because our name is coming up, this is what we got to do. And I think that part sucks because you guys are not strangers to like harassment and like racism. Like, you're not oblivious that those things are happening, and then
Yeah.
also how much more in the gaming industry. And
Yeah.
so, to have to be doing this work for so long,
Yeah.
this work for so long, and then for some people to get stirred up, right, in like their private
Yes.
safe community spaces of their echo chambers, like for them to get stirred
Yes.
up enough to like then and to do this, I think is what's irritating, because I was really excited when gamers started to work together to like, the GameStop stocks, right? I was like, we have the
Yes.
power. I was really
Yes.
excited when we got them to change Sonic, like
Yes.
with great power,
Yeah.
you know what I
Well.
mean? And so like
Well.
we have the buying power, we have influence, we have some
Yes.
say, we have authority. But at
Yes.
the end of the day, it's like, yeah, but like, I'm gonna say it. At the end of the day, white men are going to white men. Like at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, but
Hey,
like we're
if
just to let you know who's in charge around here. Like,
yeah.
and I think I
Like
don't
I
think
think
it's
I think I get I think I don't I've never known this universe, but I think I could get the concept of having games where everybody looks like you and relates to you and has a lifestyle, and then that starts to change and you're going whoa, like you're going whoa. I think I can understand maybe the shock or like the change.
yeah.
Change can feel weird,
Yeah.
but as soon as we go aggressive or we go rage or we go
Yeah.
hate, I'm like, okay, well,
I
I
don't get it
don't know what to
anymore.
do. I don't
Yeah.
know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And we're talking about all within the context of the world and how the
Yeah.
world has worked and how racism and classism and all of those things have worked. That just exists in our world, whether we like it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I don't
I
get
just
it.
don't get that part.
Isn't that crazy though? Like we can sympathize and be like, right, change is hard. I get it. You were used to
Sure.
you being Master Chief, and now,
Sure.
you're her in Horizon Zero Dawn. You don't have a choice,
Sure.
or not even just
Like
playing.
welcome to my world a little bit, you know? Like
But like
like I,
they never want it to be us. Like they do
right.
with like the swaggy P points, but like they
Right.
never wanted to experience like what we're going through. They never
Yeah.
want that. That's why. And it's
Yeah.
it's the strategy, right? Because some of these people don't care. They just know it outrages other people. It's a strategy to be like reducing
Yeah.
women to like what they're wearing and how they look in a video game. It's a
Oh yeah.
strategy, like, to talk about that and to go on. And so Unfortunately, we are going to continue to have this conversation because they're going to continue to do it because it gets clicks, it gets likes. The integrity of journalism, as a journalist, the integrity of journalism has gone down because of social media court and
Yes.
opinion and, being in your own echo chamber. Like, I have a friend
Yes.
who follows someone on X because they give them good news. And I went there
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, their content's mad cringy. And they're like, yeah, I don't agree. And I was like, yeah, I feel like I used to be that unbothered at some point. But in this day
Yeah.
and age where people are going through your followers, where people are
That's it.
going through your followers and looking and seeing what you did this, and they're not exactly like a streamer or someone who chooses
That's
to
it.
be in the limelight. Like, I don't even get to toe a line, right? Like,
No.
I have to be like in line. I have to do this. I have to do that because not only so I could be like, I am kinfolk, right? Like, not only so I could be
Yeah.
like, I'm kinfolk, but also to not lose out on opportunities. Like,
Yes.
the documentary that I've been putting together for a long time, when I first asked people to like sponsor it and partner with me, and I told them that the first place I was going to was Europe. They're like, why not Africa?
Ooh. Okay.
What do you
What?
mean? What do you
What?
mean?
What?
Tell me what you mean. Quickly, quickly, say it quick. Like, like, tell me what you mean quickly. Tell me what you mean quickly.
Podcast listeners are not going to see my face when I reacted to how that was. I don't even know what to
Tell
say.
me
I don't know what to
quickly.
say.
To hurry up and say it. Hurry up and ask me why you asked that. Because I wanted to do a documentary about Black women all over the world in gaming, but I already
Yeah.
know them. I
Yeah.
already know.
Yeah.
I already
Yeah.
know them. We could
You're
do a
right.
Zoom call. We could do a
Right.
free
That's
basic
it.
plan Zoom
That's
call
it.
of all the Black women that are in
Yeah.
gaming in the world. I know them.
Airbnb hanging out. Like, it's so easy. Like, it's
Literally.
just like very easy.
It wouldn't even need a
Yeah.
landline. Somebody could call somebody. We could literally all three-way each other and be on the phone. And so I was like, well,
Yeah.
let me do women, right? I was like, let me go broad. Like, it would be really exciting. But as I find them, then, obviously I can put Black women in there, but like, let's do all of them.
Yes.
Like, no matter like presenting or anything like that. Like, if
Yeah.
they want to participate, they participated, because I got questions of
Yes.
like, well, I'm not exactly like women. And I was like, if you want to, you want to.
That's
I
it.
just wanted to let guys know that they can't. This is not
Well,
for. That's not an
it's
invitation
just
for them.
it's
Like,
just disproportionate. It's
Yeah.
still disproportionate, right? Like, yes, you'll find lots of game devs and
Yeah.
people who've worked in games who are women or who are not men, at
yeah,
least.
yeah.
And they've been here for a while, but the proportion and the like social all of the things that affect why that is
Yeah.
in society
Yeah.
is what you're trying to focus on. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not to
Yeah.
exclude anybody
No,
necessarily. It's just
to
like
include
it's
more.
that's
Like,
it.
and I
That's
had
it.
this conversation a while ago where I was talking to some of the like women of the fighting game community, and we had a
Mhm.
panel. And I was like, it's really cool that we have like women in fighting game, because like, fighting games are predominantly guys, but we do have some women that are doing really, really good.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, the thing is that once we start separating women, then we have to separate Black women, Latin women, Asian women, and then we
Yeah.
have to separate, like queer women, and then like a different
Yeah.
type, because maybe queer women aren't as comfortable with like, women who identify as like lesbian, or like, what I mean?
Right.
Then we have to keep going and going. And then, we're separating women with disabilities, because even though maybe they're
It's
LGBTQ plus,
yeah.
they're not okay with people with disabilities. And that's
Yep.
exhausting. While everyone should get that space for sure, it is
100%.
going to feel exclusive, and so
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah, it's
unfortunate that we couldn't just stop like at women in gaming, right? It's unfortunate
that's
that we
it.
couldn't just do this, but we have to
Like, it's I don't know, a super simple kind of way that I think about it, or I try and remind myself, is like, if me and my best friend both got hurt, right? Like, I got a big gash in my leg and my best friend broke her arm. Those two things are incredibly important to fix.
Yes.
Sometimes you can't put them together. We can't heal those two things the same way.
But what if you like cut an artery, Maria? Like, what if you
like it's still important. It's still, we gotta help you too. But like, I can't. I physically can't talk about all three things at once.
Yeah.
So let me just start where I can start. We're we're all human at the end of the day with
At the end of the
so many
day.
resources. And so like it's a very small example, but like it is kind of like that. There are so many issues and so many things that do need a space
Yeah.
to be talked about. Just let
I think we're
us have that
understanding
space.
because we're a minority. Hypothetically speaking, if I was a cis white man, I'd be like,
Right.
Maria, just like suck it up. Like, didn't they give you
Yeah.
Barbie Adventure? Like, you didn't like
Yeah.
that? You know what
Yeah.
I
No.
mean? Or be like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can play on Halo, like everyone wearing a helmet. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not an old guy.
You don't
I'm
know.
not
Yeah.
Snake.
You don't
Yeah,
know who that
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, like,
Well, except
and
like the
so
voices are kind of, but it's fine.
a
That's all
woman can
right.
have a deep voice. I mean, I wouldn't talk to her and I'd make fun of her and call her a man, but
Right.
like she could have
I'm
a deep
like,
voice,
all right,
and
we're getting lost in the sauce now, dude. Come on, bring it back. Hold on.
but unfortunately we can follow their train of thought. And I think that's
I mean,
like,
it's goalpost moving, like
yeah,
goalpost moving 101. I
yeah,
don't, I'm like, cool. I don't know what you're getting out of that because I'm tired and I think you're
yeah,
tired too. Like,
yeah.
what are we doing?
To do mental gymnastics every day, to not
Mm-mm.
to exclude somebody is
No,
madness. It's
no.
absolutely madness for me to wake up and be like, well, why would they? No, we shouldn't do that. And then to
They
like,
don't deserve this at all.
and
Like,
then
just
go on
imagine.
Reddit to take other people's comments and like regurgitate them is madness to me. Like,
It could not be me. I'm
I
sorry.
would never work that hard for racism or, you know what I mean? Like
No,
homophobia or like any type of
no.
ism or phobia. I couldn't work that hard. I'd be like, whatever, bro. Like, I'd be like, whatever, bro. If they want to come, let them come. Like, just open
Yeah,
the doors. Like, I would
yeah.
be too exhausted. Like, but once
And I
again,
think, like, on
existing
top
as
of
a
that,
woman in a minority is already exhausting. So maybe they just don't have enough
yeah,
issues going on.
yeah. I
They gotta
don't, yeah.
create those issues.
Yeah. And I think like for me the other thing that gets me down sometimes is like I do see friends, I do see people, just random people on the internet. I see influencers, I just existing both online and offline. I see how much positivity, like just genuine like happiness or joy or being heard or feeling like they've been seen and represented in media. Like we know how powerful that is.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And especially gamers, like it just we all know how nice it is to see yourself in a player in
Yeah.
different ways. And so you are telling people that they don't deserve ever to feel heard or seen
Yeah.
when you act that way. And that one, mind blowing to me, and
Yeah.
also really infuriating because it's just something that like I've been playing games since I could. I don't
Yeah.
know, since my brain would let me to, literally. And I really, really like them. And I don't want all of them to be one way. That's the whole
Yeah. Yeah.
point,
No,
is I want them to all
that's
be
why I
different,
feel like
you
indies
know?
are also dominating because it's not
Right.
just like one way. Like indies still have like that
Yeah,
heart in it. Not that triple A's don't. They be having good stories too. But when an indie
absolutely.
game is like, I really care about the environment. Let me show you that I've been thinking about this concept of how we interact with the the environment, or
Yes.
even the other hot take about the CEO of the United Healthcare
Oh,
passing
yeah.
suddenly, right? And
Yeah, yep.
people
That's
are like,
a
"Oh,
very,
he
yeah,
played Among Us to learn how to be an assassin," and I
I
was
heard
like,
about that.
he probably wasn't good at it because Among Us is about getting away with stuff, and
Well,
they
I was like, have
never
you seen
taught
Among
you to
Us though?
be an
Like that's not
assassin.
gonna teach
Like,
you.
even if
It's
we're
not gonna teach
so
you
what you
anything.
want to say is Assassin's Creed because his lineage is probably really close to Ezio Auditore. If we're gonna play these mental gymnastics, you have to know the story.
This is it. At least make the, I don't
that
care
one,
if you've
that
never
one
played
makes
Assassin's
sense.
Creed. That
That
one
one
at
makes
least makes
sense.
sense.
Like, but just wanting to like
Among Us? Have you seen Among Us?
they just
Are we
didn't
talking about the
know.
same Among Us?
No, because I don't know who they were talking about. Ezio Auditore being among the other people, but I don't.
That's her. There we go. There we go.
They were confused. They both had
It
an
was a
A, and they
quick.
were like, just pick one. We don't know.
It was a language problem. That's right. Yeah. Just it's okay. It's okay. People make mistakes. It's
That's
all good.
okay. That's only their
No worries.
journalistic integrity and duty because this was on NBC News and I used to write for NBC News, and like one day I posted the wrong giraffe in a photo gallery and I got an angry phone call. But no, you're just allowed to like not do
See,
your
now
due
here
diligence. Like,
yeah, that is
yeah,
both tea and true. Like, that is just,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
She said what she had to say. Like, there's nothing else to it.
Gosh, yeah. I like
Yeah.
you said, being if it was up to them though, the reason why they are not liking the inclusivity, because if it was up to them, it would be erasure, and so they think that we would
Mm,
also want erasure, and some people do. Some people do.
yeah,
I
it's
don't.
true.
I don't
They're
want
out
you.
there.
I love Nathan Drake. Whoa, like what would I do without Uncharted? I love Nathan Drake. I love him. I don't want
My
erasure.
family is comes from completely different races and backgrounds. Like, we, like, you know what I mean?
You
Like,
wouldn't
we
exist. They don't
have
want you to exist,
we
Maria. That's what it is.
literally
They don't want you to
like
exist.
like I see how, like, we all hang out, we enjoy each other's
Yeah.
foods, we talk about stuff, we argue like a normal family, we laugh like a normal family, you know, like, it's,
Yeah.
I personally, I don't understand, but you know, there was a thing that you said that I wanted to bring up, which was, you know, you're 100% right, right? There are people who want erasure and there are people who do not want different, and that part I don't get. And then there's, like, I see every now and then in threads like a genuine critique, and I'm like, personally, I'm like, I can't tell you. Sometimes I agree with that real criticism, and I want to be clear. I don't agree with hate.
Yeah.
I don't agree with any sort of critique about like this person being a race or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, when I'm talking about a genuine critique about like, I didn't think this part was fun. You're allowed to think that,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
like, you're allowed to say like, "Oh man, you know what? When these two characters were talking, like, it just didn't pull me
Felt
like I
weird.
wanted it to."
Yeah.
That's okay, right? Like,
Yeah.
I could sometimes agree with that a lot of the time. That's I think, like, where I'd rather the
Because that's
discourse
critiquing the
genuinely
art,
be,
right? And not necessarily
right?
the artist, which I don't believe in separating the art from the artist. For y'all thinking about the
Yeah,
singers and the people who are
yeah.
genuinely like bad people and were low key telling on themselves
No,
through art
it's
because that's what it is. It's going to show your lifestyle, but
yeah,
like actually critiquing the art. Like I don't get a banana duct taped to a wall. I don't
yeah.
want
Yep,
that person to never work again, and I don't
yep,
want harm to come to that person. But like,
yep,
yeah, and I guess it has to be hard, right, to find those things because I know I like to get better at my job, and I don't like, but I like criticism. I'm like, yeah, so what do you think
yes,
about that? So I could be like, dang, you know what? I didn't come with my A game on that. You're absolutely
yes,
right. And that has to be
yes.
hard because you're like, oh, sweet baby, and you're like, let me scroll through like 100 comments to finally get to somebody who actually played and played it
Yeah.
in depth and
Well,
was like,
that's it.
I understand, and I did this and
That's
I
it.
did that. Because like,
And like, tell me why, right? Like, I'm a
yeah,
producer. I want to know why, or I
yeah,
want to know how, or I want to know, okay, this didn't land for like a bunch of people. Why would that be? Or
yeah,
et cetera, et cetera. We're
yeah,
about making games that are meaningful. But if the line is like, oh, because that person doesn't look like me or doesn't
yeah,
talk like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm
yeah.
like, well, comfort
Once
zone,
again, that's where that
comfort
travel
zone.
comes in, right?
That's
Maybe if
it.
they would leave 10 miles out of their zip
That's it.
code, in any
I mean,
direction,
yeah,
maybe
like,
they would be
it's
like,
just,
huh,
that's it. And the same thing I think goes for like, if a game doesn't have enough intention around a plot point
yeah,
or a part of a world, and
yeah,
you're like, this doesn't feel as deep as I thought it was going to be,
yeah,
valid, right? Like, I have those critiques about games as well, and I really, really appreciate when artists and developers make a world that's like, RPGs, right? Like, I love a lot of lore and I love a really well thought out
yeah,
world. That's partially why I'm here.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
because that's my bread and butter. And so if that doesn't happen,
yeah,
that's real. And that's more about intention and like resources and all the different variables that will change when a game is being made. And sometimes it's better to just do that critique than yell at a person who worked on the game, on the like
But
hundreds
imagine
of
the
people that worked on
conversation,
that
Maria.
game.
Imagine the conversation where people have played the game, right? We're already getting into fantastical realm. So people have
Yeah.
played the game and they're genuinely having a discourse. And Maria is like scrolling through Reddit and she's like, "Huh,
Yeah.
that's really interesting because actually that was my idea, but through changes, da 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 da." And then they're having
Yeah.
like this interaction with the person who actually made it. But now it's
Yeah.
like I'll never go on Reddit again. Well, I'm not saying that,
Yep.
but it's you're like,
Yeah.
no, wait, yeah.
No, no, like
Yeah.
I mean, I kid you not, I do surface with Reddit via
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
and that's kind of because of this year. Like I
Yeah.
just, it's I'm like I need to touch grass a little bit
Yeah.
sometimes.
I entered the industry at Gamergate and I was like, oh, this is what they
Yeah,
were talking about. Because when I
yeah,
entered it, I didn't know initially. And then I was
mhm,
like, why is everybody tripping? Right? Like it
mhm,
was happening the same time that I entered. And so I didn't
mhm.
know. And so like, and once again, funny that like Alan Wake was like, in Remedy
Yeah,
because I was in Finland. And when I tell you
yeah,
it was not that same energy, but then again, I wasn't really online in like Finnish like
right.
territory at that. And so it's like I was removed from it because I wasn't really like I wasn't getting a
Well,
bunch of online stuff from the US and
yeah,
I wasn't because a lot of the Finnish stuff was in Finnish. And
that
so I
makes
would probably have
sense.
to like translate. And
You'd
I
have to
was
search for it. Yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah,
was already kind of doing my own thing. So I didn't stumble across like anybody talking about it in this way. And so I was like, dang. I was like, this just sounds like really big, like when some of the other news came out about some of the other companies and like how their culture was, I was
yes,
like, that sounds doable. I was like, like some things don't sound
yes,
so big for their britches. I was like,
yes,
that can very much happen because in these small spaces, I've experienced this. And sometimes people take it too
yes,
far. People do
yes.
that. And so when I was like,
Well, I mean,
"They ruined," and I was like, "All 6 of them?" Like,
yeah.
all 6 of them? Like, they
Yep.
just ruined this whole thing for you. You didn't even know they existed, and
Yeah.
then, they did this, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's true. And I think that that goes back to like my focus on emotions and empathy as a producer as well, right? Like there at a certain point the way you feel, you're allowed to feel the way you feel, but you got to dissect why, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do with that. And those people online are adults. They get to
They
do what
are.
they want. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
sometimes.
They
And
they need a
so,
little help, they
yeah.
needed a little
Oh yeah.
support in the other direction, but yeah.
Yes. But like equally, like a great example on a personal level is like I love the Dragon Age series.
Mhm.
And I specifically really enjoy Dragon Age Inquisition. I know a little about the first games, and I am an RPG gamer who, once I loved Dragon Age Inquisition, it's like an 80-hour game minimum.
Oh, wow.
And I
That's
played
not so bad.
that.
That's actually not
I
bad.
played. It's not bad. It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, there you go. Right. Like I think 100 hours is about how I got
You're
from start
pushing
to
it.
finish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pushing it. That
But
that 20 hours is pushing it.
I played that 2 to 3 times over
Oh,
in
wow.
different ways
Yeah.
because there's a lot of replayability there, and like
But
just
I
learn
love
like
a replayability. I feel
it's
like
great.
you don't get that
Yeah.
often, right? And also,
Yeah.
once you played that 80 to 100 hours the first time, even though you're doing something different, you're not gonna exactly like it's not gonna take you that long.
Well, there's lots of different paths where you're like, "Oh, uh I could go either way with this answer." And then that's how you know, okay, well, I'll go this way first time and I'm going to go deal with that and experience that later. And that's just really exciting for me.
Yeah.
Um but I feel like with the new one that came out, there was a lot of discourse around it. A lot of people hated it.
Yeah.
For a lot of, and I think some valid criticisms, right? A lot of people like it. And I'm kind of stuck in like, well, I had strong emotions about this. I came from Inquisition, and there's a lot of ways it has changed, and I don't like that. I don't like change sometimes. And that's where I'm like, I get it. I don't like change sometimes. Change can be like really frustrating. But then I think about like, okay, well, one, I really appreciate the devs for. I know how much hard work they put into that, and I'm like, I still, because I'm a fan of this franchise, I want to give it a try. I want to play it through, and my criticisms or like whatever I feel about different parts of the game, totally valid. I'm not directing that to anybody. That's crazy, right? Like that's just, you don't do that.
Like, for me,
and there's
it could have been like this, but you don't know
that's
what's
it.
best for everybody because you're not a dictator.
That's it.
Naturally.
And like, if I really feel strongly, maybe I'll write a review, maybe, or maybe I'll say my piece online, sure.
But even
like,
then, it wouldn't be like, this was terrible. You'd be like, wow, well, maybe this was great, that we could have, it was really great, but
that's
this is the
it.
part that I really like.
Or like, I at least acknowledge my bias, but my
Yeah.
bias that I'm like comparing from Inquisition. Maybe they wanted to do something different, and that's their intention.
Because God of War did
that's
that,
fine.
and that threw me for a loop. That really
That's
threw me
it.
for a loop, because I was like, hold on, what
That's
do you mean?
it.
Like the quick time event,
That's
but I
it.
also have to put on armor, and I can't just
What
run
do you?
through
Yeah,
all
this
these
is a
places,
different game.
Yes.
Yes. And then sometimes you gotta trust what the devs were cooking, and then sometimes like it's okay to have feelings about it, you know?
We might have aged
But
out
like,
of it too. There's so many new gamers and so many new
that's it.
people coming on that are. I always
That's
think
it.
about that, and then we're gonna wrap this up. I always think about like how adults made cartoons and that we thought they were funny, you know, and so that's why a lot of like 60s, 70s, and 80s things were placed into our cartoons, because they were making them. So we knew about like, you know, 70s and 80s a lot, and then I kind of hurt a little bit because now that people who are my age are making content, they're not putting like a lot of 2000s in there. We're putting 70s and
That's
80s
it.
stuff in there, because like, how else are you explaining like Stranger Things, like, you know,
That's
with
it.
that
No, that's
constantly
it.
like being you know, like being a thing. But
and like the Stranger Things is a great example where like some of my older family members just not vibing with it. I love Stranger Things. And it makes sense why that's different, right? And like, it doesn't mean that they like think the whatever is bad, or this person deserves XYZ, right? Like, that is, I think, the fundamental difference, right?
They don't want that. They just don't want to watch it.
Like just, that's
imagine
okay,
banning
you know?
everybody to a dungeon every time you didn't like something and they also liked it. Like, I thought about it because I went to a concert before, and I was like, I probably don't even like the people that are in here, but we like a common thing. I wasn't being cynical. It was just like, you know, you meet a concert buddy and you're like, wow. And you're like, yeah, but for every one person, there's probably like 3 people you don't like. Like, you guys just like this one thing.
It's fine, man. You can still be friendly with them. It's all right. Say hi to your neighbors. Bring your dog to your neighbor.
Absolutely.
And eventually they'll say hi back, and that's important.
That's proven. I want to submit that to a scientific journal, because I've done the research.
Put it on your shirt. Yeah, I don't know.
So I want to get published. I want my credit, you know? This has been great. This is going to be a very great first episode. Like, I just decided that this was the first episode. So
I feel honored now. I'm nervous now.
Because I mean, why not open with a premiere? Like, because we just talked like 2 hours, like at minimum. We just talked for like 2 hours. So I think that people should enjoy this as a first episode. So thanks, you guys, for staying until this far. Maria, you got anything you want to say to the people? Do you want them to find you? You should ask people about their socials, like, or if you want to say anything, or can you give us any clues on like what you're coming up with next? Have anything exclusive that you can share?
Yeah, nothing super exclusive. Unfortunately, we're still working hard on Usual June, and that is the thing that's kind of like front and center for me right now.
Are you excited about it? Like, is this something you play, or is this a part of the thing where you would like to have a parasocial relationship?
You know what? No, it is 100%. I think same with Alan Wake 2. And I think producers maybe get this special perk because you're not like in a specific dev thing,
Yeah.
I do want to play almost all of the
Do you
games that
get
I've
all the
worked on.
games that you work on? Like, do they, as an
How do you mean get
appreciation,
a
do they just like give you
Oh,
code?
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
amazing.
absolutely.
And you've played every
Sometimes
one?
no.
Oh,
No.
okay,
No,
okay.
no, 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 no.
I was like,
No.
wow, you're really in
I
it.
I
Full
get
time.
yeah. I think I get all of them, or I try to, or
Yeah.
at least put them on a list so that I
Yeah.
can wish list them and get them later. But yeah, no, Usual June is I think the main thing. I am so excited for when the game comes out because I
Yeah.
want to play it myself 100%. I want to run around in that game. And aside from that, I just really appreciate y'all listening to me. I don't know. I got a little angry, I think. I got a little angry at the whole situation, but I really appreciate just being here and talking to you. It's good.
I appreciate you talking about it. And really quickly,
Yeah.
before the camera even started rolling, we were just talking about being from a Caribbean culture and not
Yes.
being able to be upset. And then also feeling like, you can't be upset online too. So I wanted to mention that. I wanted to give that an honorable mention because I think
Yeah.
that's really important, and you got you, and I know everyone will congratulate you for you not reacting, but I also think that's being a pushover. And so even if you did show emotion, this is your craft, this is your job, this is something
Yeah.
you've invested time in, they've invested in you. You're allowed
Yeah.
to be like, man, y'all are crazy, not doxing people, of course. We
No.
have to draw a limit because you don't want to be just as bad as them, but to be
No.
passionate about it does not,
There's a way to
render.
express, I think, anger that conveys how you've been impacted
Yeah.
and communicates like, okay, here's what we got to do next while still being respectful.
Yeah.
Like, like their emotions are there for a reason
Yeah.
and
They
they
set
are the way we
boundaries.
communicate. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's part of
You're like, "Oh,
communication. They're
something's wrong." I
important.
was thinking about that when you were saying that sometimes people
That's it.
clash, and I was like, they're getting frustrated because they know that there's a pin that's just not connecting.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it. But we can still all be respectful to each other. That's the main thing. So, you know, thank
I
you.
get it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
if people do find me online, you can absolutely follow me and message me. I'm really bad at checking my messages, but I am friendly when I'm there. So,
Maybe if you could
I
find
don't
Maria in Baldur's Gate, she might be a bit more receptive to you?
opposite, I'm pretty chaotic in Baldur's Gate. Good
Okay.
luck with that. I don't know.
There we go. Right. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining, and it was really, really great talking to you. I always have so much fun, like,
Yeah.
talking to all my guests because these are the people that I wanna talk to, right? Like, you've been in the industry, and, if you want to, you could have a chip on your shoulder because you've accomplished so much. But it's very
Thank you.
wonderful. It's very wonderful, to talk to you, and
Yeah.
this concludes this episode of Gaming for the Culture Season 3. I have yet to name any of my seasons, so there's just 1, 2, and 3. But if I come up with a name, you'll know at some point. But currently, right now, it's just season 3 of Gaming for the Culture. And if you would like to ask any of my guest questions, please subscribe to my Patreon. It's Patreon Janae Benet. Once again, Patreon Janae Benet. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, obey. But I love Borderlands, so I'm always going to tell you to subscribe, subscribe, and obey. But thank you once again. I have been your hostess, Janae. And until next time, game safely, be kind, wash your hands and your butt and your feet. Just
Yeah.
wash in
The whole
general.
thing.
The whole
All of
thing.
it.
Just don't be stingy. Don't be stingy with it. But all right, catch you guys next time.